Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. No matter where in the world you're joining us from, you have landed at the bus station. This is Bustin' Out. We are the Brunch Busters. I'm Bobby Munson, the man beside me, Chris Parrish. How you doing this morning? Ole. Indeed.
I'm doing well. How are you? I thought that was a good time to just put it in there. That's what she said. But no, I'm doing well. Very happy everyone is jumping in. Happy to be here. We have some good comments already right now. Brian Carter already talking that smack. No,
I expect nothing less from Brian at this point in time. I mean, and fair enough. I mean, we have no surprises for you. Alex Kane is not here this weekend with us, so
I mean, it's just us. It's 40. We are 40.
This is 40. I mean, originally there was plans to have somebody here with us today, and things kind of changed, scheduling changed, but that's okay. We got lots of fun for you here on the 40th edition of Busted Out. We are celebrating. I mean, 40 episodes. Who would have thought, Parrish? I mean, I know we definitely had it planned. We wanted to hit this many and many more to come, but seems like time's just flying by.
I lost count after 35. Those numbers are too high for me. I don't even know how old I am now. But
fair enough. Don't even try to count to my age then.
And out no, I mean, as Ed, you're saying in the chat, busy weekend here. You got the Double or Nothing preview coming right up after this with Lauren Goodnight. But yeah, we got, man, what a show we saw yesterday with Night of Champions. We had Under Siege on Friday night. Like, absolute busy weekend here in professional wrestling. And I think, clearly the number one reason that we're getting through this is because we're going to rogueenergy.com and we're using that promo code OLEPods, and we're getting those delicious flavors. And that I know that's what's keeping me up. Don't just censor this right now.
Look at that Rogue Energy kicking back.
I like it.
Fantastic.
But what have you been so happy about so far?
Ed loves that watermelon, I hear. Favorite flavor ever. And now it's now Christmas time in PP.
I am wearing PPW right now too. That's so fun.
Yeah. We're just wrapping up the Christmas tapings there from Prairie Pro Wrestling. So you are correct. It has been very festive on the YouTube channel as of late. A few more of those after that, and then we start to bring in the love after that, my friend, because it's going to be the tapings from around the February tapings, which was the Love Is Dead show that we did. So yeah, hey, why not? It's fun. We'll get caught up eventually.
Yeah. Also, I just want to give a shout out to everyone who has taken the opportunity to follow us on Twitch. We did hit the 200 milestone for followers.
If I'm not mistaken.
201 right now. We don't want to stop there, but we do want to send a shout out and a thank you to everyone doing that. We are currently at 125 subscribers on YouTube. So if you're watching on that, please give us a thumbs up, a like, and subscribe if you can. And just hit that notification bell so you can get all the alerts and updates as you can when we go live, and we appreciate that. And in case you just want to know like where you find us, I mean, that's kind of that ticker below all of the socials there, so go check that out. But Bob, I wanted to ask you, so far I know we still have another marathon show to get through tonight with AEW Double or Nothing.
You bet I do.
I think it's 9 or 10 matches on the
I believe with the buy-in. Yes, big night.
But including that, because I'm just going to save most of the opinions for you and Lauren for that Double or Nothing preview show. But so far, what has caught your eye the most this weekend with professional wrestling? And chat, let us know what you're interested in and what you've liked so far in this weekend of pro wrestling.
So I haven't taken in a lot other than watching and kind of, being able to view what we've had going down for the previews and review shows and everything like that. I mean, first of all, really, really cool that the Taking Over team, Ed and Astrid, had on Doc Chris Mueller for their prediction show for Battleground. What a fantastic show and what a fantastic guest at the same time. And again, a shout out because tonight Taking Over will have the Battleground stuff, and Ella J is going to be on the show as well too. So another wonderful guest there. Aside from that, it sounded like WWE pulled off a fairly good card overall yesterday. I haven't really had a chance to go and check it out. But the kick heard around the world. Ed has been all about that one for sure. But of course, Seth, AJ sounds like they had a solid match to, crown the first ever world WWE champion.
World heavyweight champion.
There we go. But there's that, and I've heard a few other matches there, and then of course the whole thing with the I believe it's Jey Uso. Jey Uso was the one. So I've heard all this, and it sounds very interesting. Sounds like people have kind of had another reason to tune into the Bloodline storyline, which I thought they had milked that cow dry already, but it sounds like maybe they're going to get another squirt or two out of it. So we'll see.
If you guys want to clip Bobby talking about sporting cows, that is the time to do it. But
I'll make it into a short.
Short squirt. Oh, dear Lord.
And away we go.
Guess I shouldn't announce who we have in 2 weeks. That would be an improper time. But I do want to kind of just say, like, right now, I think one of my favorite things I did see, it's nice to have that world heavyweight champion crowned. We can now kind of move on from everything. We can kind of see kind of what is going on, and that's kind of the best way, I think, going into that first topic. We have Seth Rollins becomes the inaugural world heavyweight champion. But who is his first defense? Who will be his first test? That is, I think, what's curious, because I don't know about you, Bobby, but I'm always that person who, when I'm looking at something, I want to know what's next for it.
Like, I'm gonna have to have a look at the list here, because I am not up and up on who is on the Raw side versus the SmackDown side, so this is not going to help me much. So just give me. I'm just gonna take a quick look here.
I will kind of like go down a list of people that could be. I guess we have somebody.
Start saying some of them.
We have somebody like Gunther.
I like this one right here, but unfortunately, that's not probably going to be the case, my friend.
Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar, even though they are still kind of tied.
I think they're still tied.
But we also have like the Mustafa Ali, the Johnny Garganos, the maybe Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, who we haven't seen. And one little tidbit is Drew McIntyre was featured on the video after Night of Champions. So anybody wondering if he's been completely removed, there is proof that no, he has not been.
But here, hold on. Let me ask this though: is Seth babyface, heel, or right in the middle there? Because like right now, you're kind of like you're giving a lot of like right at the moment, it's a lot of like babyface people that you're giving to on that one right now.
So like where I would go is I think this is the perfect time to bring Drew McIntyre back as a heel.
But you don't want to have McIntyre tied up into something turning heel where he doesn't gain any momentum though at the same time, do you? Like bringing him back as a heel, sure, but the first title defense for Seth, I almost think you need somebody that isn't going to take a lot of hurt in taking a loss to Seth Rollins in terms of a short title defense rivalry going into it, so that you could elevate the belt, elevate Seth, and not immediately put him into somebody that you just turned for the, a good build. I mean, Drew's a big boy and he comes in like a badass. I think it might be detrimental to his run as a heel if he comes in and immediately takes the loss to Seth.
My thing is right now, the way that they are putting out, and when I say they, WWE, the way that they are doing these matches, it doesn't seem like losses truly affect someone as much as they may have done prior to Triple H getting in charge. We saw Mustafa Ali take a loss against Gunther, and I don't think that loss affects him like losses did before. My thing is, what if we have a guy like Drew McIntyre come in, beat down him? I guess, yeah, Jinder is a good possibility. Ed coming in with saying, what about Jinder, saying he has unified or unfinished business with Seth and new titles, which, I mean, a good throwback to how Seth won the inaugural NXT championship when he defeated Jinder Mahal. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't hate it, but my thing is, does Jinder require the attention of a main event right away? And that's kind of what, like, do we see Jinder as that main event guy today? Because a lot of people question whether or not he was main event world champion when he won the WWE title. Is that irrelevant and an okay thing to ask? Because I don't know how the majority of people perceive Jinder Mahal.
Well, first, I mean, this time around, he is, coming in with the accolade of being a former WWE champion, but he's got a fairly powerful group behind him this time around. So putting him into that situation isn't necessarily the worst, especially knowing that he's not likely, well, he definitely isn't likely to be walking away with it. So I'm a little bit more on board with that because, again, it's somebody who I think can take that loss right now and isn't going to jeopardize anything for the in-between, because we are just talking about a championship defense. We're not necessarily talking about a full-on main event spotlight. Yeah, I mean, it will be to a degree because it is your world championship on the Raw side, but it doesn't have to be one that's focused into a run into SummerSlam or anything of the sorts. This is the tie over leading into Seth's probably bigger ongoing feud into the summer here. I think that Jinder would work. I think even like a Bronson Reed would work. Someone that could take the loss on a Monday Night Raw matchup for the title to get it started off. Olay! I see that, Kev. Hey, how's it going, buddy? Happy Sunday afternoon, brother.
How are you doing, Kev? Good to see you. Happy to have you on. Did you watch it? I know you watched Night of Champions. What were your thoughts?
He was streaming it.
What do you think of Seth Rollins being the new world heavyweight champion, and what do you think is next for him?
But I mean, like, I think it needs to be somebody that's, again, like I said, somebody who isn't really in a position to be overthrowing a champion, kind of like in the same situation as like Ali and Gunther, where you can give a little bit of hope to the opponent, where they, you create that doubt in the audience's mind, but still we all know that this is going to be used to escalate Seth and the new championship belt. So you don't want somebody, in my opinion, that's, coming back like you're saying, a Drew McIntyre, only because of the fact that even a heel McIntyre, I could get behind that, but I would like to see them build it. Heel McIntyre comes back and he starts just laying the hurt on a whole lot of people leading up to that potential feud. But I think in the interim, in the meantime, and in between time, we got to have Seth build that championship by taking a couple of nice title defenses. And if they said what they said about it being a fighter, like this is the championship that's going to be defended, a champion that's going to be there on a weekly basis, then you need to have that first championship defense be on Monday Night Raw. Josh.
Oh, don't worry about
JJ, Josh Joseph.
We just appreciate everyone making that attempt, and we appreciate seeing you.
Seth Rollins. Love knowing that we got friends on a Sunday afternoon. That's what it's all about.
Talking about that world heavyweight champ. Ooh, I do like that one. Balor, Miz, Reed, Ricochet. Finn Balor could be a very, very good one. Yeah. When we want to talk about throwbacks and NXT, mm-hmm. I think that was kind of the dream NXT title match we didn't really see, was Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor.
Also, that was the first Universal Championship decider right there, was when Finn beat Seth Rollins, right? So it kind of throws back to that as well too.
And I think they kind of played that back with that match being kind of what brought in, Damien Priest.
Yeah, I I was thinking that too. I kind of, as I was looking at the roster, I'm like, Priest could be a good choice as well too. I'd love to see Priest kind of get his opportunity to start getting some W's, but I think a solid matchup.
Hey, Monday look, another hate on a real Irishman, Ed. Way to keep it,
man. Ed, like it's disgusting at this point that you continue to tell us about people you love by hating on them on stream. It's deplorable, man.
Next thing you know, he's gonna say Jay White's not that good.
I don't get it. I don't get it, Ed. Like, no, and I know that he loves Becky Lynch. I mean,
and I know he loves Lash Legend. Like,
Lash is his favorite. Like, just absolute favorite.
Yeah, I mean,
how could you not? Though?
Book. I think he has her WWE like page from the NXT on the WWE.com. Like, bookmarked as his homepage. But Joshua,
I like
Joseph. That's how you pronounce his name. Seth is proving why he got the biggest push from the Shield at the beginning, and then saying, "We're being a gem of a heel, leave Finn alone." But no, I mean, I think there's a lot. Edge actually is on SmackDown.
Yeah,
Edge got drafted to SmackDown. He got drafted to SmackDown. It sucked. I wanted him to stay on Raw, but I think they definitely want him and the Judgment Day separated as well. I was actually flat out, if we're sticking Judgment Day, give me a Dominic Mysterio. Put that kid in there and see what he can in an opportunity. Don't push it, but maybe that's a great way of starting a thing against the Judgment Day.
Well, and again, because the question is first title defense, it can happen on Raw because they want this to be that belt that shows up, that gets defended. So you need opponents that Seth can roll over that aren't going to get to her in doing so. Dominic, it's an easy one. He grabs that heat, he makes his mark. He can put on a half decent match on a Monday Night Raw, and Seth goes over. Right? It makes sense.
But like, also imagine if down the road, because eventually the Becky Trish stuff is going to be done, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if you are playing something.
Well said, Kevin.
Well, she's not like most girls. But where I was going with this, I could see Rhea getting physically involved just to help her dom, right?
Yeah.
And then how ironic would it be to have Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley down the road, and you could get into that pretty organically down the road. So, like, I'm not saying like right away, but I do like an idea of maybe foreshadowing Seth and the Judgment Day in some shape.
Well, there's a lot to be said and done with that for sure, too. Jack is fantastic. Well, one day I will. That comment's all kinds of nuts.
Yep. Yes, it is. But yeah, just thoughts on Seth Rollins being that champion. Is he the perfect person for this title?
Seth was the obvious person for this title in so many ways. Like I said from the get-go, this title needed somebody that has like enough prestige without it like ruining anything. Like, you know, I know a lot of people wanted Cody to win a championship, but Cody winning this championship would have felt really bad in comparison to the story they were trying to tell with him, because this is not the championship that he was chasing. And this would have been like, it would have felt like a consolation prize if it was given to Cody. As where with Seth, there's just been this resurgence and reconnection with the audience that he has had over the last little while that has kind of put him into the spotlight as a top guy. And even in taking losses, Seth has continued to have his popularity rise. So he is that guy that kind of toes that line of the wins and losses for him haven't mattered because he's continued to make that connection. Nobody has been burnt out on Seth Rollins. They know you're going to get a quality match out of him. So if this is the Fighters Championship in WWE, then you need a guy who's going to go out there and give you the kind of matches where you're going to have that back and forth storytelling so that they can legitimize this new championship that they created.
Yeah, and I think that this is the interesting part for me, because I know there's that different opinion about how many more championships a wrestling company needs, right? And I'm not gonna go down that road.
Please don't.
But the road I do want to go is, okay, now that you have this, you're at the beginning part of it. It seems on their website this is a new lineage of a title. They're not carrying over the old one because it said longest champion Seth Rollins 3 hours. So it made sense of okay, but you're now creating something. What are you going to do with it? How do you mold this? This is now one of the main examples of the Triple H era now. Where does this go? How is this title being perceived? And does this World Heavyweight Championship in, say, 3 to 5 years have the merit of how we look at other championships? And this is very key. You have to make sure you get these decisions right now. And you can't go back on your word. You have to make this that, workhorse title, but for the heavyweight thing. And I think that's really what the idea was, is we all know the Intercontinental Champion was deemed the workhorse title, but it wasn't the workhorse world title. So I think that's kind of what it was now. I really hope Cody stays completely away from this title, because I still think he is the guy to dethrone Roman Reigns as that champion. I think long-term, your next champion needs to be Gunther. And I think Seth Rollins has to hold this title on for at least 6 to 10 months.
Yeah, I agree with you. He has to have a reasonable reign with it, and he has to have a list of opponents he goes through in that period of time. And I agree with you on the Cody front. I think if, and me, I'm not a big proponent of Money in the Bank or the way that it's handled in terms of like beating a champion that's already been downed. I think it's such a cop-out booking wise. I would love to see Cody win the Money in the Bank and challenge. Go the one-on-one challenge, but his request is, this is one-on-one. There is nobody else at ringside, barred completely. Let's find out who the true champion is around this company, and have him beat Roman clean in a one-on-one match that revolves around no interference, nobody at ringside, nothing like that. That would be the best thing I think they could do for Money in the Bank, and the best thing they could do for Cody Rhodes and his storytelling along that path. But of course, to get there, we still need Brock versus Cody Part 3 as seen this weekend. But yeah, I think you're right, though. 6 to 10 months at least on the Seth front. I don't see it going any other way in that storyline. If you want to legitimize that title belt, you need Seth to be defending it. You need Seth to have it prominently, on the cards. He needs to be on every premium live event moving forward, at least if they're Raw based or whatever, however they're deciding to split these things up moving forward.
Yeah, and one of the things that was done on Night of Champions, and I think this was a really good thing, they had an interview segment with Seth Rollins after he won the championship later in the night, and he said, yeah, he's going to be that fighting champion because he is that change. He's going to be there on Monday. He's going to be there in the next Monday. He made sure he said that because we all know the rumors of him not being on Raws down the road for that Captain America New World Order movie was swirling and saying he might miss some time. So he's confirming that he's going to be there, which I thought was very important because I think you needed a transparent champion, especially if it's a babyface champion. And I thought that was really well played and well done on WWE's end. But I also want to take a step. Like you mentioned Money in the Bank. Let's jump there. That is the next.
I answered the damn question already.
I know.
So I strongly believe that that's the direction they need to go, is that Cody needs to win the Money in the Bank, and that they need to, for the first time, accept this in the way that some other companies have done it before, where it's not like, I know they say you can face the champion anytime you want. Everybody takes the coward's way out, but I hate it even more so when the winner of Money in the Bank is a babyface and they take the coward's way out to win the championship belt, because it's not what your hero is supposed to do. Your hero is supposed to be courageous, brave, confident, and that's what they need. And they need someone the caliber of Cody Rhodes to not only win it, but to be brave, courageous, and daring enough to go, hey, I want this, but I want this to be at the top of our damn card. This needs to be the main event, and I want just Roman. Just Roman. Nobody else there, just me, Roman. If I don't win it fair and square, fine. But I want my opportunity done properly, kind of thing. And that will make Cody look like that much more of a hero to the WWE universe. And therefore, if that's the way he conquers Roman, is in that one-on-one matchup after he said, hey, I'm not going to be a coward. I'm taking you on. You have time to prepare. Let's go. And he finally beats the dude that's been in God mode all this time. How over Cody becomes in that one instant, just like that.
Yeah. And I think the one thing we got to look at, too, Ed coming in saying Cena and RVD didn't. They did call their shots.
Okay, that's fair. Sorry, yes, yeah. It wouldn't be the first time, but I like it better that way.
And just to tailgate off that point, I think the best route is if Cody is to win that, he's calling his shot against Roman, and that's when it's like, okay, well, you did this with the Royal Rumble, and he's like, yeah, I've learned my lesson. Like, I know what I have to do now to do this. I know how to finish my story now. I wanted to finish my story then, but I know how to do it now. Kind of a thing. So, like, it's one of those situations where I can see. I'm looking at it almost as a very curious point of view, because this is Triple H's first go around with Money in the Bank. He gets to now do this PLE, and he gets to have that full, how am I going to do it kind of a thing. And to me, that's what's very intriguing about this whole thing, is that he's now putting a different outlook and a different spin on it. As we know, he's proven it. He's all about the long term now. So what are we going to get out of this moving forward? We already have qualifying matches set up starting tomorrow on Monday Night Raw.
Speaking of which, the Monday Night Raw watch along tomorrow night, so that everyone can follow along with Carl Carafel, yourself. I'm sure Chris Best, OMD, Bubba Duke, any combination of that group.
Yeah. Cody and Seth should not touch till Mania. The only time I think they should touch is if by chance they're both not a champion come Rumble, and that's maybe they're number 1 and 2 to start that match.
Man, I'm glad you went that direction, because knowing how your brain works, that could have answered a lot differently.
Hey, I'm on topic here. But I'll tell you that after. But I don't just like, Kev, do you want to see part 4 though? I don't think I have an appetite for part 4 right now.
But I mean, as he's saying, till
yeah, I know,
touch until then. So I mean, do we like maybe at least like it's been a long gap if it goes that far in what Kevin's saying, like WrestleMania being as far away as it is, if it went till at least then, Cody and Seth, there's that gap. Cody was injured. They haven't seen each other since whatever time. Like, there's a lot of building in that process that goes along with it. And that the amount that Seth has already escalated. And if he continues to escalate in this sense, him and Cody and Seth at a WrestleMania, I think that would be enough absence between the last time that they went against each other and enough of a rise for both individuals that magic could be recreated and then some, especially in a WrestleMania main event.
Yeah, and I know right now we're sticking towards the men. I'm going to also throw out another name who I think could be catapulted into that scene, and that's LA Knight.
Yes.
He is in a qualifying match against Montez Ford, and I fully expect him to win that match. I think there is a lot that they want to do with LA Knight, and I don't think Montez Ford is going to be the guy in that match design for the spots. I think you have a multitude of people that can do that. I can understand why maybe they do, because I can also see maybe Montez Ford getting that push. But I think right now the window for LA Knight is right now, and I could see him being that one guy to say, I'm going to take my talents to Monday night.
Yeah.
Because that Money in the Bank briefcase also allows you to jump ship there. And I think that's a really cool little loophole with that briefcase. And I think that wouldn't be half bad. I still think a Gunther being Money in the Bank is dangerous. That is scary when you can see a guy that dominant and he has the ability to say, I want my match whenever I want. Like, oh,
that's, yeah, I mean, certainly, but at the same time, with the amount of merit that Gunther has had built up to this point, I think that alone is enough for him to be challenging for your top belt anyway. So I don't think that you need to, again, not saying that you need it with Cody, but the storyline I think writes better with Cody. I understand the fear that sets in with Gunther, but I think that Gunther, the fear sets in if that guy just calls his shot and says, look, I want the man.
Well, and that's the thing. I think he's the one heel that will, well, maybe Brock, but I mean, we all know Brock doesn't need another title reign.
No.
Gunther is, I think, the only believable heel where where if he calls a shot, yeah, you're saying, oh shit.
Yeah, but I'm saying he can call that shot without the Money in the Bank. Like if Gunther suddenly says, "Look, I've been dragging around this other belt for so long, I want the other one now."
I'm 100% on the. He should be the Royal Rumble winner for 2024. Gunther, don't get me wrong.
Sure,
that is my number one guy that I'm putting over in the Rumble. 100%. I just think, imagine if they went that direction, how insane that could be. And I'm also thinking, Papa Smokes.
How you doing, brother? Thanks for joining in.
And Joshua Joseph. See, Ed, how I constantly pronounce that name properly. Do you enjoy that because of what's next, or just tired of being champ? Serious question. And I think that's actually valid because we did see Bianca Belair lose that championship to Asuka in a very creative way of how they use the mist. And I have a feeling Bianca Belair is going to be a strong player in the female Money in the Bank. Is she going to win it? I wouldn't be shocked because it could be the best way to create that Rhea versus Bianca mega match that we all know that is the match they want to kind of transcend into that post 4 horsewoman era for the women's division. But I don't know if that's the right one. In fact, after seeing her align herself with Trish Stratus, I would be very curious about what I'm doing with Zoe Stark moving forward because that association with Trish could be very good.
Oh, yeah. And that's the thing. Like, Zoe came out like a ball of fire. Like she really did, and she came out making an impact there, and plug for another show. But she really did. She came out, and instantly it was like, okay, people are paying attention because they said, "Look, we have got somebody here that is going to be dominant. She is going to be a badass," and that's how she was presented. And you don't want to diminish that. You want to go with it because obviously the audience sees the value in it so far. So go with it. You don't need to smash her over completely right now, but that build and having Trish at her side, I think will do wonders for Zoe in terms of getting her to a spot where she is at the top of the women's division.
Yeah, and I completely think that new blood is very, very important. And I think the one thing...
Breaking news, something important.
You caught me off guard with that one, dude.
They always interrupt me. No, this is it. We are on Lauren Goodnight, where you can follow her and Bobby after this show with the Double or Nothing preview show. It's going to be our guest next week on Busting Out. So make sure if you do want to also become a future guest on Busting Out, contact us on that OLEpods@gmail.com podcast. Yeah. So talking a little bit of there we go. But just getting back, I think Zoe Stark she's that firecracker that women's division needed. And I'm curious to also see kind of just how the other people like the Alba Fires and the Isla Dawns, like I'm very intriguing, like curious with that. How we're gonna crown new tag team champions tomorrow on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
But my question is, okay, how does the NXT tag team champions, the women's tag team champions, what do they think of an open spot like that? Like we now know that Raquel Gonzalez's partner will be Shotzi, but man, I still think you do something with that tag team, Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, with whoever wins that match tomorrow. And I think you got to do something revolving those tag titles.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, aren't they the more established tag team in a sense too? Like they've actually established them as a tag team previously. So it kind of makes more sense to have established teams. Although, I mean, arguably you got Shayna and Ronda that they've done absolutely nothing with that, could have looked a lot more dominant as a team, but you've got, all the skill in the world on the one side of the fence. And then you've got Ronda Rousey. That's hearsay. Let's,
well, I mean, and then you also, who I think have the dark horse in there, is Sonya and Chelsea Green, and I would have
together.
I would have all the time in the world if you put the titles on these two, but also, I'm not gonna lie, these two kind of remind me of the Iconics, and this is, I think, the perfect time to start talking to them about potentially bringing them back. If you really want to put some eyes on the tag team in women's wrestling in WWE, I think you got to look at maybe bringing back one of the most established acts you've had in that tag division in a while, and that is Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. However, I do think one thing, though. Mm-hmm. We're talking people that we want to build a championship around. Pillars, as you say.
Pillars, you say.
Tonight on Double or Nothing, we will see a main event match for that AEW World Championship with 4 pillars: Maxwell, Jacob Friedman, Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, Jack Perry. I know, Bobby, you're going to be covering this later, but who's going to win? Who's walking out AEW champion? Yeah.
Well, stay tuned. I'll let you know in the next show. No, I'm kidding. This one will be like a little sneak peek into what I'm going to say on the next show, though. But for me, 100%, it's MJF. There's no doubt in my mind. I don't care what they've done or how they've presented the other three. MJF has put himself in a position where he is the pillar. He is the pillar going forward. He is going to be lined up for other big title defenses. I can imagine that, Adam Cole is right around the corner for an MJF feud as well, too. It just makes the most sense. I feel with the other three that there's been, like, obviously Darby has had some great time in the ring. He's had a great presentation, a great run. There would be in my opinion, the one out of the other three that I would say is kind of that wild card shot, but I don't think that they would pull the trigger off to taking it off of MJF at the moment. Sammy, it's gone hot and cold. He's good, but it's like from one week to a next, you don't know where his presentation is going to be, and I don't see a world title run for him. Jack Perry, I'm sorry, but I've grown cold on Jack Perry for a lot of reasons, and he comes in and he's got the talent. All the talent in the world is there, but it almost feels to me like he needs to have somebody who understands the wrestling business a little bit better, that just take him and sit him down and be like, this is what we need to do to get you there, kind of thing. And right now it feels like Jack Perry either doesn't have that person or hasn't wanted to have that person. And for whatever reason, I think that is the missing piece of the puzzle to get him to a point where you would have that belief that he could beat an MJF for a championship. But with the way this is built and the way it's going, for me, Darby Allin is the dark horse, but I still believe 100% MJF walks away as the champion.
Yeah, and it's weird because, like MJF is just on a different level.
Yeah,
it seems. And that's not a shot to anybody else, but his presentation, the fact that he is who he is, I think that helps him become that top level guy. Who I think is the closest to it, the more you give this kid a mic, the more I'm believing what he says, and that is Darby Allin. Like you said, that dark horse. However, I'm waiting for that moment where Darby Allin turns on Sting and he separates his allegiance with him, and then he really takes that next step. I think eventually that has to happen. You're talking about a guy that could help Jack Perry get there. Man, I'm all in, no pun intended, for a future feud between a heel Darby Allin and a babyface Jack Perry, where we see Sting turn his allegiance to Jack Perry. You want to talk about that veteran that could help Jack Perry out? I think Sting is a great egg in that basket. And I would have time for that. Because it doesn't need to be for a world title, but it could be one of those things long-term wise, you might be able to get some out of it.
I see where you're going, but I mean, and this is no disrespect to Sting, I don't know that Sting is the greatest mentor in terms of teaching what needs to be taught to Jack Perry to get to that next level. I think that he needs somebody that's a little bit more a mind for the business, somebody that somebody that's been on the booking side of things a little bit more than what Sting has been so far. I think somebody who understands the mentality of how to put everything together. And I'm not saying Sting doesn't know how to handle his business or do anything like that. I just think that they need somebody that's been outside of the ring for a while, as somebody's eyes looking in to the product at the moment that can take it and take him to that next level. I think Sting is too closely connected at the moment. Storyline wise, I understand where you're going, but I don't know if behind the scenes Sting's the guy. On screen, logically, I get that, but I think he still needs somebody behind the scenes that's gonna ground his game a little bit better and take him to that next level.
Yeah, the one thing I think Jack Perry, and this is going to be a correlation I put between Jack Perry and Sting. Sting understood how to rechange and redesign who he was, right? When he went from the Surfer Sting became the Crow, right? He had to redefine who he was. And I think that's exactly where Jack Perry is right now. He's dropping the Jungle Boy thing, but he has to almost redesign who Jack Perry is going to be for the next at least 3 to 5 years, right? And I think nobody's better at that than Sting. Sting reinvented himself. The only other guy would be Jericho, but I don't know if you want to do that right away. Plus, I kind of hope we see the Adam Cole stuff with Jericho moving on. Hearing reports that Kyle O'Reilly could be, on that verge. And I'm like, okay, I kind of want to see those 3 guys go up against the Jericho Appreciation Society a little bit. And then maybe you do, ironically enough, bring in a 4th that, I didn't know it's not Bobby Fish. But
it's not Bobby Fish.
But yeah, I don't know. But I'm really intrigued if you want to change up a Darby Allin. If he's not to win this world title, I think this is definitely a time you have Darby Allin look in that mirror and really say, okay, what do I do to get there? And he might have to shed the skin. We saw just how important that was for Judgment Day with Edge, and I think it could be very similar with Darby Allin and Sting. But as to who wins, I have no faith in Sammy Guevara. He's too, like you said, hot and cold, inconsistent for me.
Yeah, oh yeah.
To build a championship, like he couldn't even make the TNT title interesting, in my opinion.
No.
But I'm with you on Jack Perry. He needs that something to kind of get him back in there. I don't necessarily think his business side. I do think he just needs to know who he is.
Why not just make him Hollywood Jack Perry?
I think just the perception of him is what it is, right? Like he doesn't feel like a big star, but he feels like he's the potential to be one. But I don't want to see the potential in him. I want to see if he's reaching it, right? So it's very interesting to me.
I would love if he had the ability on the microphone and could be taught it. Is like, and I say it, joke about Hollywood Jack Perry. I know people have jokingly used the Hollywood moniker and stuff like that too. And I know Hogan got away with it because Hogan was in movies and stuff. But Jack Perry, in my opinion, what's up there? Amazing. How's it going? Glad you could drop by.
How are you? Talking some AEW right now. Who would have thought?
Who would have? But I almost think that if you turn him into like a Hollywood, like look at me, I never had to be on the same side as any one of you. I never had to be in the peanut gallery seats or anything like that because I was born into Hollywood blood and stuff like that. You could really make people get irritated by the character and stuff like that to the point where he could become that slimy, slappable heel that would make you want to pay attention more because you want to see somebody knock his ass out. Happy double pay-per-view night. Are you gonna be dual screening it tonight? They're amazing. I'm gonna be watching Double or Nothing myself, but I know a lot of people are gonna be watching Battleground. It should be a very interesting wrestling night.
Battleground's going to be good too. Oh my god, how did I not put anything Battleground in these comments? You
want to know why? Because Ed and Astrid have our covered all over the place for that kind of conversation, and they've been killing it all weekend already.
And I wanted to use this as a platform for Bobby to promote his show. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I'm intelligent.
SMRT.
But I did have an idea because you're talking about the Hollywood Jack Blonde, and anytime I hear the word Hollywood and anything, I'm thinking Hollywood Blondes. But there is somebody in AEW right now. We have a Brian Pillman Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Just put them together and reform that tag team.
It kind of works. I mean, it's as silly as it is. I mean,
have them feud with the Ass Boys, and I'm totally in because now you have a guy like Billy Gunn there who can help Jack Perry kind of move the chains. Yeah. Bobby, we figured it out.
There we go. There's the missing piece, and then of course, that's how you.
And if you're not down with that,
yeah. Well, and again, you don't have to make it a tag team that's going to roll for the tag belt, so you can have it build as a tag team, but eventually push Jack Perry as the star of the two. And that he starts taking that more dominant role as the singles competitor with Pillman at his side. I think you could make something like that work, and I like the sounds of that.
What if the Ass Boys, Brian Pillman Jr., and Jungle Boy did their version of a legacy? At least a faction together.
There's so many factions, man.
Yeah, but they got trios titles, dude.
I know, but I don't like the trios belts either myself, but that's just me.
Just saying, you don't have to like the game, but if you're playing it, you gotta understand the rules.
Yeah. I guess.
And something other than Elite for me, I'm all in. That pun was intended.
Nice pen work, my man.
Thank you. But I don't know. To me, it's very interesting, and this topic really kind of snowballed into a huge different debate over that. But at the same time,
it really did.
It's kind of good because
it's because the easy answer was MJF in the first place, but we were able to, extend an olive branch and talk a little bit more about the individuals in this matchup.
Well, I mean, we took one pillar and we decided to make a foundation of conversation about all elite wrestling.
That's right.
Everyone. How about that one?
We went pillar to post on this one.
We went pillar to post, and then we just went off the rails so hard in terms of what the original topic was.
Speaking of topics, we got a lot of topics on a lot of different shows throughout the week there, Parrish. And I'm thinking might be time to show people what we got coming up this week here at OLE Podcast. So take a quick moment to have a quick peek into the future of our local establishment this week with our calendar. that calendar just keeps getting busier and busier, which is a good problem to have because we got a lot of great things going on here at the channel. Thank you to everybody who's recently followed, liked, subscribed, any of those kind of things. And as our good friend, the gold standard, Carl Carafel, coming in, wow, what a stacked week of amazing programs. You bet, buddy. In fact, yeah, lots of great stuff going on here all the time. Glad to have such great content. And of course, over on the YouTube side of things, we got stuff coming out every day, whether it be replays of shows that start off as Twitch Live or the short videos that are coming out all the time. Always something going on over at the YouTube channel for our local establishment.
Yeah, but I think it's time now to talk about what Ed had mentioned. That is the kick heard around the world.
Around the world.
As Jimmy Uso turns on Roman Reigns at Night of Champions last night, standing up and saying in his best Owen Hart impression, "Enough is enough and it's time for a change."
Nice. A nice little nod there to Owen. Yeah, I mean, this was a big turning point. I don't know if anyone thought it was. I mean, you almost saw the moving pieces in place with, Roman and Solo being the bloodline that were originally drafted to SmackDown, and then the Usos being drafted separately over to the SmackDown side of things. The idea of Roman and Solo going for the tag belts, before really the Usos get their return match for the belts that they lost, kind of thing. Is a lot of moving pieces that were going in that direction. But again, I don't know if anyone knew for sure it was going to go down yesterday in Saudi Arabia, but it did. It raised a lot of eyebrows. People are paying attention, and like I said earlier, they're getting a little bit more milk out of the cow on this bloodline storyline.
Yeah, and before I say anything, I know we have this as the main thing coming out, but I think one of the best feel-good stories of anything coming out of last night's Night of Champions, Kevin Owens, but more importantly, Sami Zayn, wrestled
100%.
in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And it was done in the best way possible, and just a feel-good way. I remember telling Carl as we're watching it, in 2023, we saw the Usos in Canada, and now we're seeing Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
Times are changing.
The times they are changing. Yes.
And the time is now up for the Usos taking Roman Reigns' crap as I get back on topic there. But Jimmy Uso being the guy that threw the first shot, very intriguing, because he flat out said to his brother when asked, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm doing something what you should have done from the beginning. You were right." Jey Uso did not touch Roman Reigns in this.
No.
He was in awe. Very familiar to when Jimmy Uso took the first shot to Sami Zayn after he smacked Roman in the back with the chair at the Rumble, while Jey Uso didn't touch Sami Zayn. There's definitely foreshadow to how they're saying things. Every little word that was spoken made sense, because Roman Reigns was pushing Jey and saying, "There is no day one now." You mentioning the draft, how many more shots and direct shots did Jimmy and Jey seriously have to take from their own family before they did something? And yeah, the spot was when they went to go double super kick. I believe it was Sammy. They ended up hitting their own brother in Solo. Yeah. And that is what Roman saw on the outside. He didn't see the initial kicks before. He just saw the one.
Yeah.
I say perception is everything, but my God, the storytelling and the detail on this was done so well that even your cats approve.
Yeah, she's on board with this one, apparently.
But like you said, just when we thought the bloodline stuff was getting a little sour, the milk was still good. Because, this crumbling of the bloodline is a very intriguing thing, especially when we haven't seen full support coming from Jay, as we still need to find out where does Jay sit.
Yeah.
Jimmy did what he did.
Yep.
Now he has to respond. And for the first time, you can go into a SmackDown wondering why Jay did it.
Yep.
The tension is not on Roman. It's not even on Solo. And it's really not on Jay, even though there are angles from everywhere. Solo's probably pissed about the situation. He didn't win a championship. He felt what he feels. Roman probably feels pissed off and betrayed. Jay's confused. Jimmy is like, I kick you in the motherfucking face, Roman.
It's true.
And then Rikishi even tweeted out saying enough is enough. So are we going to see maybe Rikishi coming into the storyline?
You know, they don't need to keep doing that. Basser, how's it going, brother? I don't think they need to bring Rikishi into it. I think that, as you're saying, the crumbling of the bloodline, I think that the story is coming to that winding conclusion and everything like that. And I think that's the direction you got to go. I think that they need to avoid bringing in more members of the family to tie off any closed loops. I think they're already heading the right direction to close the loop on the bloodline permanently. And if the storytelling is done right, nobody will ever be like, oh, it was good until they took it too far, kind of thing. I think it's going to get to that point where it's like, now pull the trigger, have it done, get it over with, and be proud of what you've created over the last couple of years.
Yeah. However, I do think there is more juice that you can squeeze out of this. It all depends on what your major points are, the time you do it, and, you know, as long as it's not repeating similar stuff. Like, yes, Roman is still champion, but we can't have Roman lose the title, get it back, and then go on another reign or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, we got to see continuation. We got to see moving pieces. But the one thing I do like about this bloodline feud is that it really feels like Caesar to me. And I love the correlation between that because, you know, we have somebody wanting to be king or whatever. The ruler finally gets his palace done the way he wants, his island of relevancy, so to speak, only to go a little too far with his ego. And then now in front of his own eyes, he sees it falling apart. And I'm still wondering if instead of Roman being the guy that kicks people out of the bloodline, what if the bloodline just kicks Roman Reigns out?
Yeah.
Imagine I think if they smash the head through the table.
I think just the idea of them disintegrating and going their separate ways eventually is where it leads to and what it needs to lead to. I think it's being done right. I think it's being handled right. I think the Usos will go off. They'll do their thing. Solo eventually go off and do his thing. And who knows where it leads Roman in the long run. We don't know how much time we've got left with Roman as a you know, guy that's going to be a regular there kind of thing. So we kind of get into that tipping point of, you know, this is going to be a great payoff for him over 1,000 days as champion. He's been put in that great spot where now he's going to have a great send off no matter what kind of thing. He's going to be a legend. He already is going to be, you know, I mean, we know this from this run alone kind of thing. So I think the storytelling is going to be perfect with having them break free, break off, go their own separate ways, and inevitably not only positioning the Usos as legends themselves, but also positioning Solo as the next up and coming, you know, one to watch that is within their family and stuff. I think they've done a great job of putting Solo in a position where you're paying attention to him as opposed to just bringing him up and putting him into all these singles feuds that really do nothing for him. He has been launched into a great position with the company so far, and people will continue to pay attention to him.
Yeah. So kind of with that being said, is the best vision for the end of the bloodline being to what Paul Heyman dubbed as the Sultan of the Spike? Is the vision that represents the end of the bloodline, honestly, Solo spiking Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I mean, it easily could be. That could be just, like even have that the day after Roman finally loses the title or something like that. Roman's still talking trash. Solo has had enough, and Solo makes that attack, brutalizes Roman and stuff like that, and makes him realize, and the thing I'd have Solo say is like, you got that because I'm the guy that made sure you remained champion, and you only lost it when I was no longer there at ringside. Get it thing. And then it positions Solo as a complete badass at that point too, and I think will only grow his star.
Unless we're looking at the guy who's taking the title off Roman, is the guy that's been protecting the title on Roman ever since he's debuted. Imagine if Solo is the guy that takes that. Is very like that.
That's a little out of left field. I don't know if they're ready to position Solo there just yet.
With this storyline though, is that really out of left field, or is that something that we're just not expecting?
Yeah, I gotta roll with the fact I just don't see them going that direction with Solo as the champion right now and being the guy to topple Roman. I still think that's set up for a Cody or something like that personally. So it's not outrageous to think Solo could be put in a position to be world champion, and a lot sooner than he would have if they would have brought him up and just tried to push him from the get-go. I think that he's been put in the right direction, so I understand where this question comes from and why you would think that. I just don't know that he's going to be the guy to topple Roman. Whether he's the guy to topple the next champion, that's a different story.
Imagine if Solo wins the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, well, we'll see. It's coming soon.
And the fact that we get to kind of just like, ooh, okay, what if they do this? What if they do that? I mean, it just shows how good the product has now been, where it makes our bloodline boil. Well
said.
Thank you. But yeah, no, I mean, that to me, this is one of the best storylines going. And just when we thought, it's coming to an end, we see a little bit of resurgence on it. They're like, we'll tell you when it ends. And I like that because that just reminds me of old school WWF, of just when you thought you knew the answers, they changed the questions.
Yep.
And speaking of questions, I'm going to pose the question to our audience there. What about this weekend that we have not talked about interests you? Is there something about tonight's double show you want us to talk about? Or do you want to see the Brunch Brothers go off the rails until next week?
Well, yeah, that's always a strong possibility as well too, because we got tons of content coming out.
Yeah, do you want to bid us a good day so next week you can enjoy a good night?
Clever. I see what you did there.
Yeah, I'm fun. So yeah, no, anything you want to add, Bobby, as we give our viewers a chance to kind of say something?
No, I think that is pretty much all I had up in the old brain so far, other than I got to switch brain modes over to giving you guys a preview and a sneak peek into the Double or Nothing pay-per-view here very shortly. My partner in crime, the amazing Lauren Goodnight, is ready to rock and roll here. So I just as soon as I wrap up here, I'm going to be heading on over to the other room, and you'll be able to catch me live, giving previews, and later on tonight reviews of Double or Nothing.
Good stuff. So we might as well let's tell us more about the show and what you have going on this week.
For sure. Like I said, Double or Nothing previews coming up here immediately following Busting Out, just a couple minutes after we go off the air. Then we're going to have the review show immediately following Double or Nothing tonight with myself and Lauren Goodnight. Then we are going to have on Thursday night, myself and Papa Smokes, as always, bringing you Ring Respect Radio. Started doing a little bit of gaming this week as well, too. So my gaming streams might happen periodically when I hop on. So check out Late Night Gaming anytime I hop on there live. And aside from that, of course, Busting Out next Sunday, episode 41. Lauren Goodnight going to be joining us in the studio next weekend.
Good. And yes, I mean, obviously half that last part is also what I have going on this week. But you can also check myself, Carl Carafel, potentially OMD, maybe Bubba Duke, maybe Chris Best, as we divulge into a watch along of tomorrow's episode of Monday Night Raw, where we will see new women's tag team champions. We will see the first episode with a reigning world heavyweight champion and Seth freaking Rollins. So make sure you're checking that out. Come by, say hello. You know, we always like to just shoot the breeze and have a good time. And then, yeah, a bunch of good stuff. Wednesday got Wrestle Draft. Ed, as you saw last week, I said last week on Busting Out, how do I get out of my crappy financial situation? Well, it was Triple H just giving me a boatload of money. So that worked out well. So I had to basically whore out Carmelo Hayes for 4 weeks, and I got $650,000. So it was it was nice. So yeah, come check that out as we try to crap on the recent birthday that was yesterday of one bastard Eric Bischoff. But now that I have money, I'm going to be a bully. So come and see what I do, because I got some catching up to do.
Sounds good. We're going to send a temporary raid over to a guy played WWE 2K or somebody played 2K23, Nico Vibes. But make sure that you only stay there to say Ole, welcome, and then come right back here for myself and Lauren Goodnight on the preview show.
All right. Yeah. Let me know when that is going on, and then we will...
Already heading that way, my friend.
All right, everyone. For the ones staying on the YouTube, we are closing out, so we just want to say thank you, and we appreciate you hitting that thumbs up, subscribe, and being one of those 125 subscribers. If by chance you're still on the Twitch or whatever, following us, thank you. You're part of that 201. We appreciate you. But until next week, you have been busted.